Bruh, let's stop playing dumb. A lot of these celebrities did not just sell meals. They helped sell a lifestyle that's been tearing black communities up for decades. And the truth is, they knew exactly who they were talking to. I am tired of people acting like this is just harmless promo. Nah, when you put your face on greasy junk, sugar drinks, and processed garbage in communities already getting hit with high blood pressure, diabetes, and all the rest, that is bigger than a brand deal. That is
bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit.
That is cultural betrayal with a smile on it. And the corporations loved it because now the poison does not come from some faceless boardroom. It comes with a familiar face, a rapper, an athlete, somebody the kids know, somebody the culture trusts. That's what makes it nasty. So in this video, I want to break down how black celebrities help make a broken food system feel cool, how these companies played the game, and why this whole thing looks less like marketing and more like a setup. Because once you follow the money, the masks start falling off real quick. To me, the real story is not that fast food companies sold junk. Of course they did. But the real story is that they used black celebrity trust to make junk feel normal, fun, and even cultural. That is what makes it disgusting. Because when a faceless corporation pushes grease, sugar, and ultra-processed nonsense, people naturally have some resistance. But when that same mess comes with a rapper, an athlete, or a celebrity your kids already know, now the product lands different. Now it feels familiar, safe, even cool. This was not just food marketing, this was trust marketing. Culture being used like a delivery app. The company makes the product, but the familiar face carries it past your defenses. So nah, I do not just see burgers and fries here. I see a system that kept normalizing the exact type of food already linked to obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, and a long list of chronic issues. CDC and NIDDK data show obesity rates remain especially high among non-Hispanic black adults, which makes this whole pattern hit even uglier. This is poison. The whole machine kept making harmful habits look harmless, and once you see that, bruh, the whole thing starts reading less like advertising and more like betrayal. Travis Scott, Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B and Offset, Nelly, Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, Shaq. Different personalities, different eras, different fan bases.
You don't find that suspicious?
Same BS, same basic product lane. Fried food, sugary drinks, combo meals, curly fries, sauces, desserts, breaded this, loaded that, ultra-processed chaos dressed up like a cultural moment.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
And I kept asking myself one simple question. Where were the healthy deals? Where was the big celebrity collab for grilled food, fresh bowls, real ingredients, or anything that looked like it might actually help people?
Shit, I don't even know. Like, I can't even tell you that. Like,
real quiet on that side. Because that imbalance is not random. That imbalance tells you what the companies believed would sell and who they believed could sell it best. And to be fair, I am not saying only black celebrities ever endorse junk before y'all come at me. The point is the overrepresentation and the pattern. Research found black youth were seeing significantly more fast food advertising than white youth, so these celebrity partnerships were not floating around in some neutral space. They were landing harder in an audience already getting hit more often. So at a certain point, I do not even care whether every celebrity thought deeply about it or not. Intent does not erase impact. The check clears, the meal sells, the kids see it, the habit gets reinforced, and we keep dying. That is the real damage. The celebrity is not the full machine. The celebrity is the front door. The real machine is the company, the ad strategy, the audience research, the product design, and the repeated exposure. Because companies do not spend billions on marketing for fun. They do it because it changes behavior. That is the whole reason these deals exist. And when people say it's just business, I'm like, exactly. So let's talk about the business honestly. A major meta-analysis found that even short-term exposure to unhealthy food advertising increases children's food intake. Anyone surprised? The research literally supports the idea that this kind of advertising changes what kids want and what they eat. Now add a celebrity face to that. Add a familiar voice. Add the feeling that this product is part of your identity, part of your culture, part of what cool people do. See how much more powerful that gets. Now it is not just a food ad. Now it is a social signal. So no, I am not buying the innocent act routine. If the ads work, if the food is low quality, if the audience is vulnerable, and if the same strategy keeps getting repeated, then this is not some accidental little brand moment. This is incentives. This is a machine doing exactly what it was built to do. And the machine did not stop at ads. That is where the conversation gets deeper. Because even if you never saw one commercial, the environment itself was already leaning you in one direction. The neighborhood was part of the play too. Studies found predominantly black neighborhoods had greater fast food density than predominantly white neighborhoods. In one New Orleans study, black neighborhoods had about 2.4 fast food restaurants per square mile, compared with 1.5 in white neighborhoods. You don't find that suspicious? A broader national study also found higher fast food access in predominantly black neighborhoods, and poverty by itself did not fully explain the pattern. So now look at the whole picture. More exposure to the ads, more celebrity-backed junk in the culture, more stores in the neighborhood, more convenience, more repetition. And then people want to reduce all that down to personal choice, like the environment was neutral. Nah, that is not a fair reading at all. Because choice inside a manipulated environment is not the same thing as choice in a clean environment. If one community keeps getting flooded with the message and flooded with the product, then the outcome starts to look a whole lot less like random behavior and a whole lot more like engineered habit. And that is the point where this story stops being about one meal and starts becoming about a whole system. A system that figured out how to sell harder in places already carrying more risk, then acts surprised when the consequences show up later. And if I'm being real, the deepest part of this whole thing is the kids. Because grown people can at least pretend they are making informed choices. Kids are not processing all this like that. They see a celebrity they like, a bright ad, a fun meal, a toy, a vibe, a song, and boom, the product already got an emotional advantage before anybody even talks about nutrition. This is bigger than a brand deal. So when a company wraps low-quality food in celebrity energy and pushes it hard, especially around young people, it's not harmless promotion, it's behavior shaping. And let's not play dumb about how this works now. The kid sees the ad on TV, then sees clips online, then sees the celebrity again on IG, then the app serves more of the same because that is what these platforms do. One impression turns into 10. One craving turns into routine. That is not small. This is where I hear grandma in the back of my head talking about, we got food at home. And honestly, old school people were onto something. Because back then, every little craving was not treated like an emergency mission. This new era turned convenience into identity. Everything gotta be instant, delivered, dipped in sauce, and posted online like that is normal life. So when kids grow up inside that environment, I don't even like reducing it to discipline. Discipline matters, sure, but let's be honest. A child surrounded by ads, celebrity cosigns, delivery culture, and ultra-processed convenience is not making choices in some clean little laboratory. They are being trained like a pet. And the reason this hits so hard is because the damage does not land in some abstract way. It lands in real bodies, real families, real neighborhoods. High blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, obesity, stroke risk, heart problems. The same stuff black families have been dealing with for years, now getting fed by the same food culture that keeps getting marketed like it is harmless fun. CDC data shows obesity affects about 1 in 5 U.S. children, and rates are especially high among Black and Hispanic youth. For adults, NIDDK reports obesity prevalence is highest among non-Hispanic Black adults. So when I look at all this junk food promotion landing hardest in Black communities, it ain't some disconnected issue. It's the food and the outcome standing way too close together. Everybody wants to talk about treatment after the damage is done. Pills, prescriptions, doctor visits, more management, more maintenance. And who owns the hospitals, the pills, the pharmacies? Now, who spent years normalizing the habits in the first place? A huge amount of grocery store food is ultra-processed junk, dressed up like food too. Bright boxes, fake health language, cartoon labels, endless ingredients nobody can pronounce. Fast food is just the loudest version of it. And that is why I stay plant-based myself. I know that even a plant-based diet nowadays is not how it was back then, but at least I feel I have a bit more control over what I eat. I just see the game different now. Once I started paying attention to how much of this food system is built around cheap ingredients, engineered cravings, and repeat customers, I could not look at it the same. To me, that whole setup looks like low-quality frankenfood for the working poor. But now let's go deeper. None of this started with a celebrity meal. The roots go way back. After the civil rights era, fast food was not just sold as food. It was sold as opportunity. McDonald's says Herman Petty became its first African-American owner-operator in 1968. On paper, that sounds empowering. And I'm not here to deny that there were Black owners who saw real opportunity in franchising. That part is true. But that is also what made the system slick. Because now fast food was not just entering Black communities as an outside force. It could show up wearing the language of Black entrepreneurship. And let's be real, that looked good politically too. After years of unrest and demands for real change, being able to point at Black ownership inside a giant company gave everybody a nice little success story. Look, progress. Look, opportunity, inclusion.
Y'all know what's going on, and so do I.
Meanwhile, the actual product being scaled through the neighborhood was still burgers, fries, sugar, grease, and dependency. The betrayal was layered. It was not just that bad food spread. It was that bad food got wrapped in the language of advancement. It got framed like economic mobility. It got marketed like community progress. And for a lot of people, I'm sure it felt better to see a Black owner behind the counter than a company treating the neighborhood like a blank market. But I'm always asking one question: progress toward what? Because if the money is flowing but the health is collapsing, if the stores are opening but the food quality is still trash, if the image looks empowering but the outcome looks destructive, then I have to call that contradiction what it is. And this is where the whole Black ownership means Black control fantasy starts falling apart. According to multiple lawsuits, some Black McDonald's franchisees later claimed they were being pushed into worse locations, higher cost situations, and lower profit neighborhoods, while white operators got better opportunities. Reuters reported that dozens of Black former franchisees sued McDonald's with allegations along those lines. So now think about how crazy that is. The same system that could point to Black faces for legitimacy was, according to the lawsuits, not even treating Black operators equally behind the scenes.
Hey, bro, come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
That is what I mean when I say the machine was squeezing people from both ends. It used the community as a market and allegedly gave some Black owners the roughest part of the business too, which means even the entrepreneurship angle needs to be looked at carefully. Because I know how people think. They hear franchise owner and imagine power. They imagine freedom. They imagine somebody really calling the shots. But a franchise is still a structure. A corporation still owns the brand, the rules, the systems, the leverage, and a lot of the upside. That is why I say black ownership inside a white-controlled system does not automatically equal liberation. Sometimes it just means the machine got a more relatable face. They smart. And when the product itself is already low quality, that makes the whole thing even more twisted. Now the community is not just consuming the trap, it is being asked to feel proud of the trap. Now it is not just, oh, these stars were getting checks. Nah, it is deeper than that. The whole structure has been using black credibility, black aspiration, black stereotype, and black visibility as cover for a long time. This was never just food. This was a system using us to sell back to us. So this is exactly why I do not respect the lazy excuse of, it's just a brand deal. Nah. Once you understand the ad targeting, the store density, the health damage, and the money trail, that little sentence starts sounding real weak. Nobody is mad that people want to get their bread. I ain't sitting here shocked that celebrities cash checks. The issue is what they helped normalize and who they normalized it to. That is the part people keep trying to skip over. I'm sure most of them probably don't even let their kids eat what they promote. If your face helps make low-quality food look cool in communities already carrying heavy health problems, then your influence did more than entertain. It sold a habit. Well, everybody has free will. Sure. And everybody has gravity too. That don't mean the environment don't matter. Choice still exists, but choice gets shaped by repetition, by proximity, by convenience, by culture, and by what feels familiar every single day. This whole thing feels like betrayal instead of just bad marketing. The product was not floating around in a vacuum. It was being pushed harder at the same people already most likely to deal with the fallout. Maybe every person did not sit down and map out the long-term consequences. Fine. But at some point, grown people have to be honest about what their image is helping push. Because if your brand keeps making poison look playful, you do not get to hide behind, it was just business. And honestly, Black America might have been one of the first places this model got tested hard. But now the same logic is spreading everywhere. What they did through fast food and vulnerable communities is basically what the whole food system is doing now at a wider scale. Ultra-processed junk all over the grocery store. Delivery apps making bad habits frictionless. Snacks engineered to be impossible to stop eating. Fake health branding on boxes full of nonsense. Everything built around convenience, cravings, and repeat purchases. Same BS logic. Keep the quality low, keep the flavor loud, keep the customer dependent. That is why I really believe we were treated like an experiment first, a test case, a proof of concept. If you can flood a community with the ads, the stores, the celebrity faces, and the low-cost junk, and still keep people coming back, while the health gets worse, then of course the system is going to scale that logic wider. Why would it not? Just look at the outcome. Whole regions of the world where fast food is not nearly as dominant tend to have different food habits, different meal rhythms, and often better health patterns. I am not saying every problem comes down to one restaurant chain. I am saying convenience culture plus ultra-processed food has changed the way people live, eat, and age. So when people hear me and think, oh, this is just about Black folks, nah, that is too small. This started as targeted extraction, but now the whole country is drowning in versions of the same trap. Black America just happened to feel the knife early, which brings me to the real question. What do you actually do once you see the game? If the trap is convenience, dependency, and cultural cosign, then the answer has to be breaking dependency on purpose. That starts with cooking more at home. Yes, I know that sounds simple. It is supposed to. Some of the deepest wisdom is simple. Grandma saying we got food at home was not just about saving money. It was about not letting every craving turn into a transaction. It was about not letting outside companies control the rhythm of the house. It also means growing what you can, even if it is small. Herbs on a balcony, tomatoes in a backyard. Learning how to make a few real meals instead of living off DoorDash, wrappers, and microwave culture. I ain't saying everybody needs to become some perfect farmer overnight. I am saying the more food knowledge you get back, the less power the machine has over you. And for the celebrities, I think the challenge is simple too. Be more intentional about what you attach your face to. If your image can make junk look cool, it can also make discipline look cool. It can make real food look cool. It can make movement, health, cooking, and self-respect feel aspirational too. The influence works both ways. They used culture to sell poison. They used trust to sell dependency. They used familiar faces to make the trap feel like love. And if you see that clearly, bruh, you cannot keep eating, endorsing, and excusing the same way like nothing happened. And I hope after that, in case you weren't, you start looking at all kinds of products differently now. So let me ask y'all this. Do you think these celebrities really understood the damage they were helping normalize? Or did they know exactly what they were doing and just did not care? Check out the next video because this same game shows up in another place people keep ignoring. And that one is definitely worse. And I'll see you on the next one. Panda out.